So first of all, let me say thank you. I am so grateful for this acknowledgement, and I am so thankful for the family and friends and colleagues that are here today, and I'm thankful for the ones who are not. I was asked to give some thought to how it is the culture shift in the world that I live in every day really meshes, and I thought a lot about how they come together. I listened earlier and was tempted for a moment to change my comments because it sounded like our Instagram world was really at work. And I agree that this is the golden age of science and technology. It's unlikely that we will ever be the same again. But no matter how much I thought about what I do interacts with the culture shift is the idea of the long view and its importance in what we all intend to do. And again, I'm a little old-fashioned, but I know that this is kind of a right now kind of world. It's instantaneous this and a quick turnaround and a meteoric rise. And each and every one of us, I get, has those aha moments that we think have changed the world, or at least ourselves. Even the word culture shift, I mean, shift feels sudden, right? Like it should happen in a moment, not over a course of decades. But in looking back on my own life and my own career, I'm convinced that the long view is a necessary element in doing the things we say we want to do. Let me define what I believe the long view is. It's the intersection between an inspired vision and a sense of urgency that forces you to work every day, because every day and every individual counts. So the long view is that kind of magic point in the middle that allows that to happen. My husband says it another way, which I absolutely love. He says, you know, people don't change when they see the light. They change when they feel the heat. And he's been 44 years worth of light and heat, I can promise you that. So I got to look back and say that's true. But I've often thought about just, you know, kind of this notion of the long view and what it means for me. And again, I get those aha moments. I really do. I've had them. The moment that I was 6, standing in the Smithsonian Medical Museum with my father with a 3rd grade education, realizing that I wanted to be a healer when I grew up. In 1972, the first dance with my husband, when my life changed, I knew it would. The phone call I got that heralded my mother's massive stroke that took her life the summer of my freshman year of medical school. The first moment as a physician, I lost a patient or saved one. Each moment I held one of my 3 children for the first time in my arms. Each and every one of those was a seismic shift in who I was going to be. But when I look back, it wasn't each of those moments. It was the countless moments since then, the thousands of times I've been held in my husband's arms since then, the tens of thousands of diapers and homework that I have reviewed as a mother. Looking back from Tanzania to Texas and seeing the people that you can heal with the knowledge and commitment you gained over decades, that, for me, is the long view on how we'll shift the culture and make the change. I live a long view life. And there's one piece of long view that I really continue to struggle with and continue to exercise my faith that we'll be able to change over time. You know, Hill showed a lot of statistics around abundance. And I am also a fan of Peter Diamandis and the X Prize and all of the work that's happening. But what I realize is that we as an African American community lag in many of these abundance criteria. And the one on health hurts my heart. 30 years ago, I looked at statistics that told me that we were behind on how long we lived, how well we lived. And when I look now, despite our efforts in technology and science, the elbow grease we put into taking care of patients every day, we haven't been able to close that gap. But my faith in the long view says 30 years in, we got 30 years more. And we'll do what it takes every single day in every single way to make sure that we as a community exercise our diversity of knowledge, experience, of expertise, and that we're going to make it happen. That health, the one thing that we all value and need in order to do all the other things we need, should be guaranteed to us in the way that it's guaranteed to others. And we have the capability in this room to do it. In closing, I want to share one story. So I told you about my husband's wisdom. I had a moment of wisdom with someone else. We were going to take education to the streets. One of the ways to close this health gap, this is 30 years ago, is to take it to the airwaves. So I was invited to do a television show for the PBS network called the Urban Health Report. We're going to look at diversity in healthcare, examine the gaps, and provide education and information that we thought would make a difference for folks. I loved the idea. I sat down with the general manager of the station, and the night before our first show on diabetes was aired, and he said, "What do you want to get?" Here's my long view. "I want the people of the world." He said, no, take it down a notch. I said, okay, I want everybody in Washington, no. So finally, after this exercise, we got down to, here's what I want. I want one patient with diabetes, one of the millions of people who don't know that they have diabetes, to find out as a result of this show that they have it. I want to be responsible for saving their limbs, their eyes, their kidneys from the ravages of diabetes. Just one. He said, that I think we can do. So the show airs, and I'm all excited. But of course, I don't get any feedback on anybody. But several weeks later, I was in the Safeway around the corner from my house, and there was an older gentleman who was pushing a cart, and he kept looking at me, and I saw him on the next aisle, he's looking at me still, and finally he came over to me and he said, "Ain't you that young gal from television?" I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, yeah. He said, "My daughter was watching your show. She said, 'Daddy, I think you might have this.'" And she took me to the doctor, and sure enough, I had a touch of sugar. I got chills because he was my one. Now, of course, he walked away pushing his car saying, "Now they got me eating all kind of food stuff. Can't have preserves on my biscuits, no sugar in my coffee," scowling. And I said, "That's okay, I got you." So here's my invitation and call to action to each and every one of you. Take the long view. Each and every day, think about your inspired vision, but don't forget that sense of urgency. And remember, every day, in every way, and every individual counts. Thank you.